everybody. I am so excited to share this next 45 minutes or so with you all and share with you some of the learning that I had during distance learning and some of the awesome things I created for my students. So these slides are for you. If you scan the QR code, or this is the Bailee, you can have these slides, and all of the resources are here for you. I am a big believer in giving freebies and not just like freemium stuff. Like, I want you to have access to my things, because I think that's what makes teaching so great, is that we just share stuff with each other. So here you are, the slides and the Bailee, so make sure you grab that. All right, so a little bit about me and my contact information. This is my email and my Twitter. It's also my my Instagram, but I use that more for my classroom, but you are more than welcome to follow me at Coach Sandsmark for Instagram as well. But I am Bailee Sandsmark. I teach 6th grade physical education in San Diego, California. I'm in the Poway Unified School District here. I have a couple of Google certifications. I'm also working on my Google Trainer certification. That's my big summer activity. I am a physical education leader through the San Diego County of Ed, and I am also on I'm the San Diego regional representative for Capered. I'm very excited to be someone who contributes more than just at my school. I'm very, very passionate about creating high quality physical education all over the world for everybody. So hopefully you can sense some of my passion in this. All right, here we go. So what we're going to cover today, we are going to mostly focus on putting the E in physical education, and that is just because it's something that I'm extremely passionate about. I do not believe in rolling out the ball. I believe that we have the most important subject in education, and it's really important that we emphasize that. And there's so much learning that happens in our classroom. Maybe we aren't even really aware of it, but so that's kind of what we're really going to focus on, especially with distance learning when we're in the eyes of our families. Really focusing on the education is really important, that we're not just giving fitness logs, that we are really challenging our students and pushing them to actually learn. I'm going to share with you some of my favorite engagement tools, not only that I use in distance learning, but I'm also using them in the classroom. I was using them before this all happened, so I'm very excited to share that with you. And then I have 3 lesson examples with templates and everything, some freebies for you guys, so definitely take them, and then we'll have some time for Q&A at the end. All right, so we're going to first start with what is physical education. And I took this from Shape America, and this is really the basis for physical literacy and really what a quality physical education class should look like. So I'm not going to read this for you, but I just want to go over some of the things that I've underlined. So it's planned. We don't just show up to school and say, what am I going to do today? We have a plan, and everything has a purpose. That it's standards based, that we have a goal, we know what we're working our students towards, and we're focused on that learning. In addition to all of the motor skill things that we're doing, that we're focusing on their knowledge. We want them, when they get in the car, for their parents and their parents ask, what did you learn today? We want them to be able to talk specifically about what they learned in PE. We don't want them to just say, oh, we played soccer. We want them to say, oh, I learned how to dribble a soccer ball today while I was being guarded by a defender. Like, that's what we want them saying. So we want them to know what they're learning and be able to speak to it. And then we have self-efficacy. So I'm a big believer in that physical education is one of the best places where students can develop confidence and in themselves and who they are. And so self-efficacy is also a big part of that. And then also just their emotional intelligence. There's so much cooperation and collaboration that happens in PE. And so just that understanding their emotions and how their emotions affect others and what's going on with being aware of others and the things that they might be dealing with and how they can all interact. So this is a lot. This is a lot for us to tackle, but there are so many amazing educators out there that are doing this every day. So it can be done, and just focus on this and strive towards this. And I'm going to help you, give you some tools to tackle this today. So we're going to first talk about that first part that was planned. So we really want to, when we're thinking about creating quality lessons, we really want to design backwards. So this graphic is a little fun. It's clickable. So I have little things on it for you. So if you click on the links on the little icons, they all take you somewhere. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to identify which standard you want to address. And that was where I clicked on here. And I have more freebie stuff. So there are a couple of links here. This is our California, or this is through the Shape America. They have a database for all of the state standards. So you can easily look that up, and that's right there. And then the Shape Grid level outcomes. And I actually took the Shape Grade level outcomes and I put them into a Google sheet and created this really awesome. This is clickable and a freebie for you. And it breaks it down. I'm middle school, so naturally I have it set with our middle school, but it kind of broke everything down. And then I also provided this really awesome column for you to decide, is this standard better for distance, in person, or both? So you can kind of go through this and analyze the standards and figure out, what can I do in person, what can be done, what sorts of things can be done online, and what can work for both. Because I think right now a lot of us, I know in my district, we aren't sure. And so this gives us the opportunity to kind of break that down. So we start with the standard. Go back here. And then after that, we look at what success criteria students are going to need to be able to do to meet that standard. So if you click on, oh no, fix the link. Okay, so I forgot, I did not make these live. Just identify the standard one. So we'll just go through my little graphic here. Anyway, so after you identify the standard, you want to create your success criteria. So what am I looking for specifically to tell me whether or not that student has met that standard? Then I'm going to determine the assessments. So how am I going to collect, what data am I going to collect, how am I going to collect it? And then your next step is to plan the lessons. So you have to do 3 really important things before you even start planning out the activities that you're going to do. And when you're planning the lessons, you want to think, how much time do I need? How much time do I have? You know, if you aren't the only person at your school site and you're sharing a facility, well, you need to figure that out. And then what lessons will develop the skills for the students. So this is kind of the big phase, right? This is a lot of the nitty-gritty stuff, but you can't even start here without this. And then once you have planned the lessons and taught the lessons, then get feedback. Get feedback directly from the students and ask them what they thought about the activities they did and the learning that happened. Find out from them what they learned. Did they learn the things that you wanted them to learn? And then after you get their feedback, reflect on not only what the student said, but what you observed and what you saw, and make a plan for the next time you teach the lesson. Do it immediately. Don't wait until next school year. Keep notes, and that reflection part is one of the most important things. it's like my favorite thing about being an educator. I think it's awesome to I never do the same lesson twice, even period to period, constantly learning and growing. So we're going to go into a little bit more detail in these slides. So here we go. We kind of already went into the identify the standard. I showed you that document. If you click on, I'll just go there real quick. If you click on these, like I said, they do take you, this is to the document. So those of you that aren't middle school, I made that Google Sheet straight from here. I just copied and pasted. This is an amazing document. It breaks it down by standard. Here's the actual standard, grade level. It's awesome. The other one is the state standard database. So you can just click on your state and the map will give you the resources. So wherever you are. All right. Going back. Beep. Okay, so then we want to talk about success criteria. So this PE metrics book is awesome. I actually have it right here. Let me grab it. Okay, so it's a great book. It's pretty thick, so if you go in and you look at it and you wonder why I think it's like $50. It's big, but it's awesome. It has, I just flipped to, you can see I have it well marked. The dance, design, performance gives you the grade level outcome, the assessment task, some guidelines, how to set it up, equipment that you might want, and then it has a rubric on there. So I really highly recommend this book. It's awesome. Even if it doesn't have something specific for your grade level, like what you want to teach, you can adapt it for your grade level. So it breaks it down by standard. Great book. Highly recommend it. If you click on this link right here, this my book, it will take you to the Human Kinetics website and buy it. Yeah, so it's $52. And I don't know why it says ebook, but I guess you could get it as ebook. I guess I give you the ebook link, but it's also as a actual hard book, which I recommend. Also, they do have the standard, the GLOs in a book, which is kind of nice. I also like having a hard copy of things, so that's on that website too, the Human Kinetics. And then while we're on this success criteria topic, one of my all-time favorite books is this Teaching Cues, probably backwards, Teaching Cues for Sport Skills. It's very highly marked up and tagged, and if you aren't familiar with teaching a skill, or you just want to really make sure your success criteria is very specific, this book gives you exactly what you need, all the cues you need for teaching a skill. So get that. I will actually add that to this if I can find it. I think it's probably on Amazon. Anyway, so this is over here on my little computer screen is an example of the success criteria I used for my basketball unit this year. So the students have this, they know exactly what they're being graded on, and these are the things that I'm making sure that I'm teaching when I'm teaching them how to dribble. So the main thing here is we are focused on the dribble, we are focused on the pass, and then we are focused on ball control. So because it's great if you can dribble and it's great if you can pass, but if you can't maintain ball control while you're dribbling, then you're not going to be successful in basketball. So then I break it down into critical elements, just some really simple things. We're not getting super complex here because of time when you're grading 250 students. This keeps it easy. Also, if you're doing peer feedback, then it's really simple for them to look at. There's not a lot of things that they're trying to focus on. So this is on the rubric. The students know it's posted for them every day. They know exactly what they're being graded on, exactly what they need to work on, and then this is what I use when I grade them. So I took the standard, figured out the success criteria, and put it together. The next is determine the assessment. So it all depends on the standard, the success criteria you're looking for, how much time you have, what your class is like, what you're comfortable with. I know when I first started teaching, I felt like I always had to be the person doing the assessing, and it would take forever. So as I started doing more peer and self-assessing, I found that it really gave a lot of ownership to the students, and it gives me a really good opportunity to talk about integrity. And I really have now embraced the peer and the self-assessment and giving students that opportunity. I'm observing the assessing, and I can always pull a student aside and talk to them if I feel like they aren't being honest either way. Maybe they're being a little harsh. I have a lot of kids who usually grade their peers harder than I would, so that's always something. But you know, there's teacher, there's peer, and there's self-evaluations, and I think a balance of them is really the way to go. And just some other quick things to think about when you're thinking about assessing. Are they going to do an observation or a demonstration of some sort? Is it going to be a knowledge assessment where they're doing a quiz? Are they doing some sort of explanation and showing their knowledge? Are they analyzing something? So these are some just quick things. There's lots of stuff out there on assessment, and that's a whole nother session. But assessment is one of the keys to everything, right? So spend some time here. If it makes you uncomfortable, get after it. All right, so the next step is planning. All right, so one of the big things that I found, my dog is whining. I apologize for her. Gotta love the quarantining. So one of the things that I've learned that is really important when I'm planning is the students need to know why they're learning something. I'll get that question. Why are we learning this today, Ms. Sandsmark? So it's really important for you to have it prepared in kid language. Why am I learning this? I started a couple years ago doing the what, why, how on the whiteboard outside the locker room. They know what they're learning. They know why they're learning it, and they're gonna know how they know they learned it. And I started doing it during distance learning, and I'm going to continue it next year. It's actually going to be in their daily agenda that I post for them online. I was posting the activities of class every day on their calendar in Canvas already, and I just learned, this is a great way for them to really be able to go back and see what I learned today. So anyway, the why. So when you're creating your lessons for every day, you should be able to have an answer for why are my students learning this? Why are we doing this activity today? And it should be meaningful. Okay, some other things to think about when you're planning your lessons. How many lessons is it going to take? How much time do I have? What's my class period like? How many days in my unit do I have? Maybe you need to plan for rainy days or hot days, depending on where you live. I know in San Diego, believe it or not, we have a lot of rainy days, and there are certain times of the year where I always plan a couple extra days in there for lost days when I know there's probably going to be rain and I'm going to be stuck inside. So this unit might take longer. I'm going to have to adjust this unit. So you need to think about that. Always figure out what equipment is needed and how much equipment I'm going to need, especially moving forward with all this COVID stuff. There's a really good chance that we might have no equipment being allowed at our in our department, and so it's going to be getting creative. I was just talking with one of my friends yesterday. We were talking about the challenges that we might be faced with in-person teaching and not being able to use equipment. I was like, man, I created lessons with just a rolled up paper ball. Every student could have their own little ball out of a piece of paper, and we'll make it work. And then they can turn their math homework in later. But what equipment are you need? And you might have to be resourceful moving forward. And I think that's part of the fun, part of the challenge of what we're going for, whether you're at home or in person. I think especially with virtual learning, Students might not have any equipment at home. So also giving alternatives. Just because we're doing a overhand throw unit doesn't mean that you have to have a ball. You could use a stuffed animal. You could use an empty water bottle. So just being creative with what equipment you might need. What skills you need to teach in order for them to meet that criteria that we talked about on the last slide. How you will teach the skills. Is it going to be from video? Is it going to be stations? Is it going to be direct instruction? How are you going to teach the skills? And how will students apply their learning? I'm going to skip back to the how you teach the skills. One of my all-time favorite things is, oh man, I'm having a summer mind space, never mind. It'll come back to me. Forget what I said. I'm seriously having a major summer moment. Anyway, so how will students apply their learning? So how are they gonna be able to show that they learned something in class? Jigsaw. That's what it was. Jigsaw. So my dance unit is so much jigsaw. I use videos, I use text. It's awesome. The kids are super involved. It's the best. Jigsaw. Okay. Anyway, moving on. All right, then the next step is receive feedback. So this is actual feedback that I got from our main activities that we did during our distance learning time. So, pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. My graphic, I don't know where it says. Oh, it's at the bottom over there. 81. So I had about 72%. Oh no, wrong way. Sorry, mouse. There we go. 72% of students. I have 250 students, 181 filled out the form. So it's pretty good. 72% of my students. I probably had about 90% engagement by the end of distance learning. So I had most of my kids participating in the activities. All right, so I asked them, did they enjoy this activity that we did? So 70% enjoyed the National Field Day from Open. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I did all the activities. I did gratitude journals every week. 70% of the students enjoyed those. I did a create a quarantine game, and I had 75% of students enjoy those. And then I had 65% of students enjoy the sports skills showcase. And I think this is really important to gather this data at the end of every unit, at the end of every semester, whatever. Probably sooner than later is better because kids might not remember. But I think it's really important to make sure that the kids are enjoying your activities. I definitely think, I want 100%. I want 100% of my kids to enjoy every single thing that I teach. But I think if I'm getting 70, that's passing, right? That's a C. So I'm doing okay. And knowing that we went into distance learning very quickly and it was chaotic for everybody, I feel pretty good about this. So I also asked them more questions. I asked them why they liked it or why they didn't like it. And so I was able to get a little bit more specific feedback on how I can improve and how maybe next time I do this lesson, I can get 80% of the kids enjoying it. Because that's what we're really striving for is improvement. But this isn't bad. These were all brand new assignments that I'd never done before. So I feel pretty good that it was pretty well enjoyed. There we go. That was weird. Okay, so the last step is reflect and improve. So I'm going to show you, I went through the reflection process, and we're going to just kind of walk through my personal reflection process. So I would, if I were you, whether it's digital or on paper or however you do your reflecting, do a what went well column and a next best steps column. Think about you specifically, what you think went well. write those things down. Look through the feedback from your students. What went well? Write it down. So some of the things that I chose the sports skill showcase. That was the 65% of kids enjoyed it. Most room for improvement there. It was also the last required assignment we had to do. So I also take into account that kids might have been over this whole distance learning thing by the time they got to this assignment, because I did lose a lot of engagement towards the end, as did everyone at my school. So, even though it was scored low, I also kind of have it in the back of my mind that kids were definitely starting to check out. So anyway, so what went well? The students told me that they loved being able to share their skill. So if I'm a softball player, I love softball. That is my jam. That is my sport. I love it. And I get to share that with other people. How exciting is that? I get to share the sport that I love with somebody else. So they really liked being able to do that. They also said, I don't think I put it on here. Oh yeah, I did. Students learn how to explain a skill. So I actually had students say they liked knowing that they could teach a skill, and they learned how to teach a skill because I gave them the steps, the things that they needed to make sure they explained. So how cool is that? That not only did they love teaching it, they loved the process of learning on how to teach something. Future teachers here, future PE teachers, they're coming. The students also enjoyed seeing what their peers chose, so they got to know each other. They had a good time seeing what their peers were interested in, even if they didn't have it in common. They liked seeing what their peers were into, and that's really cool. And then my favorite thing was that I learned so much about my students. I think that this was my favorite. Like, dance and tumbling are two of my favorite units, but this by far was my favorite lesson because I got to learn so much about my students. I definitely don't want to wait till the end of the year to do this next year. I'm going to do it right in the beginning. And I'll explain more about the assignment and how it works coming up. So then on the other side, I have next best steps. So I take feedback from the students and what they would improve, and I take some of the observations and I write those down. So some students didn't like being on camera, and I felt like I gave them options, but maybe I just didn't give them. I wasn't explicit enough about how they could deliver their instructions. So I understand that being on camera is awkward and not fun, or maybe your camera isn't working, or especially in quarantine, maybe you don't have a beautiful backyard. Maybe you're in an apartment and you just don't feel comfortable sharing that. So that's definitely something going forward, to be explicit about some other things that they can do. So I put just like a little note. So I could provide more choice for the demonstration. I can show them some tools like using stop motion, or doing a storyboard, or doing a flip book, or it's endless. The next one was some students felt they didn't understand the assignment. So I have sample. I provided a sample. I demonstrated it, but perhaps they didn't watch my demonstration, or I'm not sure. But now I have some peer examples, and next year I can show them some examples of what a good one looks like. So it's good to know. And then I pre-recorded it and pushed it out to them. So maybe if I'm teaching virtually, I would do it as a live Zoom. And that way there's opportunity right then and there as I teach them and introduce them to it, that I can get questions answered immediately, and students aren't trying to ask me through email or trying to ask me, or some students just don't ask me. So they don't take the time for whatever reason to get clarification. So that's an option for a solution. So, and then I had some students say it wasn't fun. And I'm like, darn it, because I had fun when I was creating mine, but it's also what I love to do. The one issue I had with them telling me it wasn't fun, they didn't really give me any tips on how I could make it more fun. So that's kind of, when you're getting feedback, sometimes you don't get helpful feedback. Like, okay, it wasn't fun. And even though I asked what I could do better, they didn't tell me what I could do to make it more fun. So it's just something to keep in the back of my mind. Okay, how can I make this more fun? How can I make this more interesting and engaging for the students? Some of the feedback I got was things like, well, I don't play a sport, so I can't do anything. So those students didn't read the instructions. But those are things, if I would have maybe introduced it live and given that opportunity for them to ask questions immediately, that would have been, those sorts of questions in my instructions would have been highlighted. So there's more things that I could have added to my next best steps, but I just gave a couple here, showing my thought process. Okay, so we went through the whole process. How to plan. Planning, reflecting. Planning, implementing, reflecting. Sweet, backward design, we got it. Now for the fun stuff. I want to talk about some things that you can do once you've created your lesson or thought about it, some fun things that you can do to create some more engagement and have students submit. So my all-time favorite, it's been amazing for distance learning. I even used it before it started, is Flipgrid. And if you are not familiar with Flipgrid, you need to. When I first started using it a couple years ago, I think I've been using it since 2017, I believe. There wasn't a lot of PE stuff. I've been really trying to contribute some PE stuff, and there's more and more stuff coming out so that you don't have to recreate the wheel. There's already lessons. I'm going to do like a quick Flipgrid demo for you. And this link right here will take you to a link to go sign up. So if you click on it, and you're like, I need to be on Flipgrid, click this link, it'll take you to Flipgrid. This is just a quick screenshot of my activity. So I actually made the big mistake one year. I think I did it last year. I don't remember when I did it, but I actually deleted all my old boards. But I didn't realize you got all these like cool achievements and stuff when you have engagement, and then they keep track of all the stuff you've done. So I'm like, darn it, I shouldn't have deleted stuff. Because I was like, oh, they're old students, I don't need them, but I really should have. So it's so cool to see, like, I've had 24,000 video views from my students. How cool is that? Students have posted almost 3,000 videos. That's a lot of sharing. That's a lot of awesomeness happening. And I've had 2 weeks and 4 days of shared learning. This is incredible. This is so cool. It's just awesome to see all the learning and all the engagement, all the sharing that's happening. Flipgrid's big thing is giving students a voice. And Flipgrid is amazing. And if you haven't watched the Flipgrid live presentation about what's coming up August 1st, you should. I'm sure it's on their website. I'm sure it's posted on Twitter. I watched it live. It's so cool. They're constantly updating, listening to teacher feedback, and improving, and it's awesome. Anyway, you need to be using Flipgrid if you're not. This is the moral of the story. Some other good options, and these are links that will take you to them. Storyboard, that is just, there's free, there's also freemium options for you to sign up, but the free version is totally easily usable, and it just is a template, and students can create a storyboard. Obviously, Google Slides, we don't need to go into that. Padlet is... take you there. It is essentially these like boards, and it's like a live discussion board kind of, but each student has their own little tile. So you can pose a question, and the students can add comments, and they can see what everyone else writes as well. I'll log in for you real quick so you can. I've used it as a student a lot lately. It's now a freemium, so I've been like nervous to use it, but but you can definitely go on and let's see if there's anything in this one. So, oh yeah, so I have a topic, I have instructions, and then the students can add there. And this one was moderated, so you can see that the things that they put were hidden until I approved them. So that is, I think you get 10 boards for free. It's like $8 a month or some $10 a year or something. It's probably worth it if you're going to use it a lot. Parlay is kind of similar to Padlet. I actually just got introduced to this and I was like, Parlay is so cool. So again, let me log in real quick for you. And so I created a couple just because I was playing around with this. I actually got introduced to it as a student in another, I was a student. And basically what it is you give a topic, and you can have students read all about it, and then they have some discussion questions. And then, so it's again a discussion board. You give your instructions, explain how to give feedback, and then the students come in, they write their response after reading the information, they answer the discussion questions. And the coolest part about this is it is totally anonymous. It gives the student, well, on the student end, it gives the student a fake name, but as the teacher, you see their real name. So, you know, it kind of takes away some of that discussion boardness where they only comment on their friends and that sort of thing. It's really cool. Again, it's kind of like a freemium, but it's awesome. I used it as a student, like I said, and I was like, this is so cool. I'm totally using this as a teacher. Just as another way to use discussion boards and interact in a fun way. And then the last, oh no, I did it again. The last is Canva. Canva is a must-have. It's a giant design website, and they also have a class. So you can have an entire class on here. I haven't used it for this feature yet, but I know a lot of people that do. If you're on Facebook, there's a whole like Canva for educators Facebook group. And the possibilities in Canva are endless. They were doing, I think they're still doing a free teacher account. So if you sign up using your school email address, you can have the full everything. Otherwise, they do have a free version that really you can get away with a lot with the free version. The only thing is, like, sometimes some of the templates or icons or things are paid, but I was using the free version before they started giving teachers the free upgrade. So you can definitely use it. I can like quickly show you. I've created pages for my Canvas. I'm starting to create icons so that I can do badging. I'm going to do a whole like Marvel theme next year. So you can do banners, I did a certificate. Possibilities are endless on here. So you need to be using Canva. It's super easy, super kid friendly too. So that's where this class, you can have the students create things, I can share things, and it can be a whole class in here, which is really cool. So sign up for Canva. Again, use your teacher account so you get the free upgrade for the educator. So those are some of my awesome engagement tool tips. The more fun we can make things, and the tools that we give kids, the better. Think outside the box a little bit on that. All right, now for the stuff you've been waiting for, the lessons. So I didn't put the National Field Day stuff on here because that was open stuff. They may have closed it now, but they have a whole slew of summer activities going on right now, and I love the open curriculum. It's free. It's really high quality. It gives you reflection questions that are different DOKs. It's awesome. So check out Open if you haven't. I pull a lot of my rugby lessons, drills and things from there. It's awesome. Has all grade levels. It even has stuff for like before and after school programs. So please check out Open, support them, because the lessons, the quality of the lessons are awesome. Okay, but anyway, sidebar. So I just kind of have for you the 3 main other lessons that I did. So every single week the students did a gratitude journal, and they used Flipgrid to record their responses, and there were different questions every week. And I have, if you click on the template, I have the questions that I used here. So I did 9 weeks worth. You could add to these, you could change them, whatever. I added some fun, like specific about the end of 6th grade and summer and things, because it was the end. So you can adjust. You can, honestly, I'm probably going to do this every week next year, because the students, you saw 70% of the students liked it, and not only did they like it, some of the feedback that I got was, I asked them specifically if it helped them keep a positive attitude, and like 90% of them said yes. So anything I can do to help my students think about the good things they have in their life and the good things that are about them. You know, it's really easy to think about the bad parts of me, but if I'm challenged and asked, what are your good qualities? It's hard sometimes to think about them, but it's a really powerful tool. So I gave you my questions here. I'm not going to show you any of my kids' gratitude journals. They're just quick. I gave them like a minute and a half on Flipgrid, and that was plenty, and they just record their responses. We'll talk a little bit about Flipgrid more in a minute. The other one is the create a game. So create a game is one of the 6th grade standards. I tweaked it and I turned it into create a quarantine game, where they had to use things from around their house and their games had to be done at home. So I have the template here for you. It'll ask you to make a copy. I'm not going to open it because I don't need a copy of it. I already have it. But here's the template. It's yours on Google. You can adjust it to however you want. The template that I give you is set up so that you can do it whether you're in person or at home. The kids loved this. I loved it. It was really fun to see their creativity. So enjoy. And I actually have, I'm going to show you a student example of hers. You can see, I think I capped them at 2 minutes. So I definitely recommend that, especially with 250 students. So here is Isabel explaining her game.
This is my quarantine game called Fitness Golf. What you'll need: 3 or more sports equipment, a paper and pencil, a goal or a container, 3 or more goals or containers, an item to mark the start and the beginning, and 2 people, 2 or more people.
You're gonna take your sports equipment and you're gonna try to get into whatever goal you have. At least attempt. And as many times as you get it in your goal, you have to do that many push-ups, jumping jacks, or any sports type things.
So you kind of get the gist. I'm not going to show you all of it, but it's pretty awesome to see all their creativity. She did a great job. She followed all the rules, all the instructions, did everything right, had a great video, and I can go and play her game now. So create a game is good. The next one is the Sports Skill Showcase, and what this was their instructions were to, same thing, this template will ask you to make a copy of it, but you've got it there, and they were asked to teach a skill of a sport that they either know, something they learned in school this year, or they could learn something new and then teach it. So that's kind of where the students were like, well, I don't play any sports. It was like, well, but you could have tried to learn just a new skill, or you could have taught us something that you learned in the previous, before quarantine time. So like I said, this was awesome. I had a student teach us how to do a backflip on a trampoline. I had a student do archery. I had a student show us the grip for fencing. The typical, there was a lot of volleyball, a lot of soccer, a lot of softball. I even had students do like proper running technique and running form. So I think that it was fun. I really liked it, and the kids did a great job. And I have another example, and I have Isabel again here for you. This one again, I gave them 3 minutes because this took a little bit more explaining. I'm not going to show you 3 minutes worth, but here's Isabel.
Today I'm going to teach you guys how to overhand serve for volleyball. What you'll need is a spacious area, most likely outdoors, and a volleyball. Alright, so first off what you're going to do is you're going to have your less dominant hand, so that's my left, and you're going to have it out like this. Then you're going to take your most dominant hand, which is my right, and you're going to put it at a 90-degree angle. Then you're going to come right and forward, make sure your feet are at sort of like a little angle, and that they're shoulder width apart. Then you're going to bend a little bit with your knees. So you're going to bend.
All right, you get the point. She used dominant and non-dominant hands. I'm such a proud teacher. Anyway, so you can kind of see the same thing. They had to actually teach it. They had to talk about safety considerations, because that was one of our big focuses, was just making sure that they were in a safe place when they were performing their skills. So again, you have the template for that, template for that, template for that. Yes, freebies are awesome. And reach out to me if you have questions. Also, reach out to me if you have suggestions, because yes, I got feedback from my students and my own observations, but if you try something or you have an idea, please share it with me. I love learning, so don't be afraid. I kind of want to do a quick Flipgrid for you. So we'll just take you to like the main page. So these are all of my grids. They're going to be changing the name. That these are going to be called, oh, I don't remember. They just told us in groups. They're going to be called groups. They just announced that some of these changes in the Flipgrid Live. So it depends. So if you're using Canvas, there's a Canvas integration, which use that if you can, because it's connected right to SpeedGrader. Otherwise, I have all these different grids. You can change who can see them. So you can see this one, you have to be logged into our district Canvas. This is a school email. This is a public one. But you have to have like the code and everything. I have a password. Private community is code and password. So public community is, there's no password on there. You just need the flip code. And then private is that there's a passcode to access it. So this is all of my grids, or they're going to be called groups. Super easy to add and create. If I click on here, you can see then there's topics. So it's like a subgroup. So if I were to just click on this, you can have a GIF, you can have a video, you give instructions, and then if I had any students in this one, then their response would be here, and I can even record a response myself for the students to be able to see. And I highly recommend, if you are doing distance learning, that you are as visible to your students as possible. It gets you buy-in. I can see how many topics are there, how many videos are there. So there's a lot of information right here. I'm not going to do a Flipgrid tutorial right now. I'm just going to give you the basics. Mixtapes are, so like I had my retirements, I put all of them into one, and then I gave Gina her link, and so she has her videos. Pretty cool. I also took the National Field Day videos and put them all into one, because they were by class period. So I took them and I put them into one, and then I shared it with the entire 6th grade. And so all the 6th grade teachers could see all the fun stuff that their students were doing. Grid Pals is a really awesome way to connect with educators all over the world. You can see where there are people, so I can search for someone and I can email them and say, hey, you want to be Grid Pals? And now my classes can connect, which, how cool is that you can connect with another PE class or any type of subject anywhere in the world using Flipgrid. So cool. Disco Library is a really great way to steal other people's work. Not really steal, it's free. There's different topics. There's like featured playlists here. I have contributed to this, so some of the things that I have contributed are here. So if you are on Flipgrid and you want to steal them, you can steal them. Pretty much everything is under the physical education and health topic. So if you're familiar with that and you want to steal my stuff, go for it. It's there for you. I'm happy to share. The last is shorts. So shorts are just little videos. This is where you can record instructions. I gave my students their excellent club, and this is their videos congratulating them on achieving excellence club. So Flipgrid is awesome. If you want to know more about it, please email me and ask me more about it. I'd be happy to kind of walk you through it, set up a Zoom or something. But it's super easy to use. You don't even need a tutorial. Definitely check it out. And that's it. We are to the Q&A section. So feel free to reach out. Again, here is my email and my Twitter. I am happy to connect. If you have any ideas or suggestions, email me, tweet me. Thank you so much for coming to my session. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and let's connect. I love it.
Thank you for watching this session from EPEW 2020. We're saving the next few minutes for you to ask those final questions before we log off. If you have any questions afterwards, please reach out to the presenter or send a message to EPEW through our website.
Don't forget that we have more amazing sessions going on. Head over to our website, epew-cp.weebly.com, and look for the virtual EPEW 2020 tab.
You can also access the presentations on YouTube by typing in the hashtag EPEW 2020.
We'd like to thank the amazing EPEW committee for all their hard work over this past year. This event would not have been possible without their dedication, commitment, and volunteering their time to providing high-quality professional development.
Don't forget about our other events like our socials and share times. Links can be found on our website.
Remember our motto for EPEW, come to learn, leave as family. Thank you for joining our family today.